Police have seized $5.2 million worth of illegal drugs after dismantling a large-scale drug lab in Sydney's southwest. A 39-year-old man has been charged and will appear in court next month. Authorities obtained a search warrant for a rural property in Mount Hunter where they seized more than 450 items, including 21 kilograms of MDMA, as well as substances and equipment used to manufacture illegal drugs. And New South Wales Police are due to provide an update on that drug operation shortly. We will be bringing that to you live as soon as it happens.
Commercial lab, clan lab set up to manufacture tablets. Tablets for the dance party season and certainly the nightclub scene. From that, a 39-year-old individual has been arrested. He appeared before Campbelltown Court last Friday. He's been bail refused after being charged with manufacturing a commercial quantity of drug, and he'll appear again on the 19th of December. This is part of an ongoing investigation, Strikes Force Lovell, by the Criminal Group Squad. This individual is well known to police and we will not rule out further arrests in this matter. The reason why we're here today is obviously we've uncovered tablet dyes and certainly chemicals from this particular clandestine lab, which are not dissimilar to what we saw at the DEFCON 1 festival at Penrith in September. At that festival we had 2 deaths. Obviously 11 other kids that were presented to hospital had significant presence of prohibited drugs in their system. We found a chemical, MDA, which is a parent chemical, which is what we found in the lab. Questions?
Were there also, in terms of the link to DEFCON, were there pills with a triangle stamp similar to those found on one of the victims?
There were a number of dye stamps which were secured from this particular clandestine lab. One of them was a triangle shape. Certainly prohibited drugs that were seized at the DEFCON festival, including a triangle pill. They do come in different colours, shapes and forms, obviously, but in terms of the kids that went to hospital who overdosed, we certainly found this parent chemical present in their systems.
Are you able to talk us through this lab? Like, what were the conditions there and how disgusting was it?
Look, the warning that we have, obviously for individuals, choosing to try prohibited drugs for the first time, or those using this kind of drug, this is a filthy, dirty premises. It was a grubby lab. It was set up at an industrial size to produce chemicals. They will use any cutting agent known around to cut the chemicals. They are manufactured with toxic chemicals, these particular drugs. They are not the things that you want to be putting in your system.
So are you able to say definitively that there was this link between this lab and the pills at DEFCON, or is that still to be confirmed?
Look, there is still forensic investigation to occur. We're going to forensically analyse all the precursors and drugs that we've seized. We seized over $5 million worth, or the chemical MDA in various forms, powder and in tablet form. It is a process that we go through as part of that investigation. What we do know, though, is this individual that's been arrested has got associations with outlaw motorcycle gangs. And in terms of DEFCON itself, a number of the dealers that arrived there, including an individual that went to hospital, are also associated with outlaw motorcycle gangs. In particular, one of the dealers that arrived there that day had a very large quantity, 240 grams of prohibited drug, including a number of tablets. So we believe that there is a link. We are going to work through that. Obviously, it's not dissimilar of what we found in the dyes in the lab.
Can you tell us, was this man actually living on the premises?
We find, yes, he was. Shortly before the seizure or the arrest, the individual spent a period of time in hospital with mental health issues, and obviously after he left, we made the arrest and obviously made the discovery.
So was he arrested at the hospital or back at the property?
No, we've arrested him leaving the hospital. Obviously, he was processed. Additional to this is a further discovery of a lab at Menangle, or an unused lab at Menangle, which we believe are also linked with this individual.
And can you tell us The property itself, it's a family home. There were children living there.
Yes, there was. Obviously, it's never a concern by chemists, backyard chemists that are producing this. The individuals that are behind this, and we believe that this individual didn't act alone. It takes a very sophisticated model to bring chemicals from other countries into this country. This lab was set up at an industrial size. Obviously, we won't rule out further arrests.
Do you know, up and down the food chain, how many other arrests are you anticipating?
Look, at this stage, it's early days with the investigation. The reason why we're here talking about this particular lab is obviously the health risk that these pills and the people behind them pose to members of the community. So I won't be drawn into the number of arrests that we may make as a result of the discovery of a very large commercial lab.
And how long does it take to test those pills and the chemicals?
Look, it'll be through a process, obviously working with government analytical labs and the teams working through the exhibits. It will take some time.
And can you just talk us through specifically the drugs that were found in the quantities?
Look, there was more than 30 kilograms of MDA in powder and tablet form. There was also over 20 litres of GBL, and there was other prohibited drugs found in the premises. Obviously, the MDA is significant in terms of what we found in the toxicology of the 11 kids that overdosed from DEFCON, and it's a line of inquiry that we will continue to pursue.
In terms of the charges they're facing, I mean, obviously he's facing drug charges, but if it is found that, it's the same pill, could he be facing murder?
Look, in terms of it, manufacture commercial quantities and importating precursors, they carry a 20-year or up to life imprisonment anyway. If he were to be linked directly with the manufacture of the pills and obviously the taking of it, the complexity of it is the use by the individual, which changes from person to person. It's a necessity of the law to prove that each element exists there before we can proceed. Obviously, as part of the Commissioner's working party and the working party that he participated with government, were a number of legal opportunities and strategies to address this problem.
So it could be upgraded to murder or not?
Look, in terms of the legislation, I can't speak for government. I know in terms of the working party, there are things that have gone up to government to create, obviously, offences about supplying at high-risk events. I'll leave that question for government.
And on the property, can you tell us the family? What age were the kids? How many kids were living there? Where are they now?
No, I can't give that background in terms of other family members, no.
And the chemicals you say were imported, where from, are you aware?
Look, in terms of these kind of chemicals, there are a number of countries they come from. In particular, China is a provider of precursor. Obviously, the world market is opening up. We're even seeing Mexico now in the methamphetamine business. That's part of the lines of inquiry that we will follow as a result. The lab was so large and obviously its operation so sophisticated, we don't believe this individual acted alone.
How long do you think it had been there for?
At least for a couple of years, I think.
So there was a big commercial pill press. How many pills was it churning out?
Look, I can't give that specific information other than it's a multi-stage pill press, which would push out pills obviously every second.
And what about the chemicals involved? I mean, how toxic are they? Can you talk us through some?
A lot of the chemicals used in the manufacture of prohibited drugs are used extensively in the mining industry to leach opals, to produce gold, that kind of thing. These are chemicals which shouldn't be in the human body. They are used in a rough cook-up situation like we saw here, and then they're used by an individual who may use other drugs in connection or alcohol. They're not meant for the human body. We can only warn people and show them the footage of how disgusting and filthy this lab was, how untrained the individual was who produced it, and how dangerous it is to the users.
And the guy who's been arrested and charged, the alleged cook, you said he had mental health problems. Was that related to cooking up this concoction?
Look, I can only say we often see those individuals that put themselves in a position where they cook up over a period of time, and you see a psychosis come on them, and they become exhibiting, strange behaviour. Obviously, he was in a similar situation when he presented to Campbelltown Hospital.
And can you just lastly tell us, in terms of the scale of this operation, is this one of the biggest, busts you guys have made in recent history?
This lab is significant. It's one of the largest that we've seen in New South Wales. Obviously, we're now working diligently through the criminal group squad to establish how the chemicals came to be in this country and how they got produced.
And how many items did you seize and how long did it take? You had to process everything on site. Can you tell us?
It took us around 4 days to process this lab after we rendered it safe. There's 480 exhibits that have been taken from this lab, including large quantities of precursor and prepared drug. It'll take some time to process.
And more arrests imminent? When do you think you'll be able to make
As I said before, I won't speculate on how many people may be arrested. We believe this individual did not act alone.
And on the street, what was this worth?
Over 5.2 million, just in what's contained within the 30 kilos, but there's obviously significantly quantities of precursor and other drugs at the premises.
We've been hearing there from Acting Assistant Commissioner Stuart Smith there from the New South Wales Police, providing an update on the arrest that has taken place regarding the discovery of a large-scale and industrial-scale drug lab in southwestern Sydney. A man was taken into custody earlier in the week, and substances including up to 30 kilograms of MDMA and other chemicals and parent agents have been found, and possible links being pursued with the overdoses and deaths that occurred at the DEF CON festival in September.